Villainous beats, villainous beats, villainous beats. Villainous beats, villainous beats.
In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. Imagine that, a future that's super black. Long as your skin brown, your superpowers intact. What would your powers be? Just hope it ain't super whack. Spatial manipulation, create a portal that's black. Maybe just super speed, time travel to run it back. Or cheat manipulation to keep my spirit intact. As I encounter evils the world face, demons the world makes, I'm needed the world at stake. Rest in peace to Chadwick, they killed all the Black Panthers. Told us white lies, I still marvel at black answers. Suits in DC, pray it lead to a civil war. It ain't no Justice League, what's the need to be civil for? Propelled like the juggernaut, it's clear ain't no stopping this. The world in grave danger, who can stop the apocalypse? They killed all the heroes, the new ones don't really care. But if you need me, put your fist up in the air. Yeah, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is Super Black.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Blurred's Eye View. You know who I am. I'm your man on the wall, Chris Fury. And I could not do this without the team. But before I bring them in, I want to thank you for tuning in. Continue watching. If it's your first time here, thank you. Remember to hit that subscription button and that notification bell on YouTube. You can also catch us on Facebook, the Blurred's Eye View YouTube page, as well as Blurred's Eye View on Instagram. And there you will find all the links and all the great stuff that you have sitting there, past episodes and more. But before we go any further, let's bring the team in. Let's go on. Lady Mandalore's in the building. What's going on?
Well, hello. Good
Like
evening.
my center is off here.
I know. I'm a little disheveled. Like things are.
It's Tuesday. It's the weirdest thing.
If you can't tell, I'm a little rushed.
Hey, you said photo finish. I'm taking a sister at her word.
Quite.
You guys always make it shine. So, without it, we got the cinematic assassin in the building.
Yes, sir. I'm in the building like Big Luther and Big Oprah about to arm wrestle over the last ham hock. Let's get it.
Sweet potato pie?
Well, at this barbecue is always somebody fighting over the last ham hock. Next up, we got the Black Spartan in the building. You know that's going in the intro for the next season. It's just like, oh my god,
that was light work, Will. He wasn't.
I was chuckling, but it wasn't the same, Will. I mean, what happened? I'm usually praying by the time this camera's on me. That wasn't even a short call to Jesus on that one. I mean, come on, sir.
Man. We got our faithful cousin in the building, Navy Montel from Blurred Corn Speaks in the building.
With myself, no less, with my self-portrait.
Nice. So we have our special guest in the building of 9B Collective. We have Phil Butte. Is it Butte or Butte? Butte. All right. And I just want to make sure I got it right.
Pretty much, listen, if it's not funny, you're not saying it right.
Now it's making me think of Buckaroo Banzai. It was like, it's French.
Don't make it fancy. Don't make it not weird. It's definitely a weird last name.
And also, we have your partner in crime, Michael Uwande. What's going on?
Y'all. And I'm left saying that intro slaps. I was about to have
Thank
a
you.
back here, but
Shout out to G Black and Villainous Beats for the weight music for Villainous Beats and the intro for G Black. So thank you to the family out there. They do us proud. Everybody loves the intro. So I told him, I said, did you think I was going to change it? It's a stain.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke. So
unless you play Monopoly.
There have been a couple drops today. One of the first ones is they did drop a little teaser for the new Peter Pan and Wendy trailer. Let's take a quick look at it. See how everybody vibes. I vibe to it quite well. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm here for all of it. So
Okay.
We shall see, young man. We shall see.
Tell me, how did you come to Neverland?
Are you
Lost Boys.
every last one of us? But you're not all boys. So? What is this place? It's home.
Peter found it. Just like he found all of us.
It's like he found me. Peter Pan?
Were you expecting someone else?
What do you say, boys? You ready for an adventure? It looks very far away.
It's closer than you think.
There, look.
What is it that you're afraid of, my love?
Perhaps I don't want to grow up.
Hold the past in your heart, but where you go from here, it's up to
with you.
Wendy, Moira, Angela, darling. Where is Peter Pan?
Okay.
Lots of
Oh,
close-ups.
that's literally
Lots of close-ups.
It is. It's literally around the corner. I didn't know it was that close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. Like,
Lots of close-ups. Yeah. Just, the camera's up in your face, like, who are you? I'm Peter Pan.
Yeah.
I had more zoom ups than a Maybelline commercial.
Hey, I'm here for Yara. I'm here for Yara. I'm here for Yara Shahidi as Tinkerbell. So I'm here for it. What's going on, Glue? The man who's keeping it all together over there at the Law Society Entertainment. Shout out to him and the team. Raw. So we're gonna get to the villain version of Tinkerbell. Raw, don't give me ideas, man.
The villain. She's been villainous all her career. What you talking about?
I mean,
so we're gonna start with our guests.
Story.
We're gonna start with our guests. Phil, what do you think? Just from first looks already.
I'm biased. I worked on this one, give your true opinions. This is my first time seeing it. I worked on this one. I actually worked on the concepts for Yara. I knew that she was being cast as Tinkerbell, and I think controversially, people talk about race swapping, and some people like it, some people don't. The way I look at it is, if we're not greenlighting new projects, meaning if we're not greenlighting new ideas and new culturals and things that we're just going to keep doing Peter Pan forever, how many Peter Pans are enough before we diversify the cast? So I'm saying you have so many versions of this. So my take on it is that I get that people are like, it was written this way, and it's like, okay, the further back we go, the less I'm included, or my people are included. So if we just keep carrying things from the past, you want your Romeo and Juliet, your Peter Pan, your Pinocchio, your Robin Hood, your King Arthur. If we're just going to keep telling that story the same way over time, what does it do? It erases everyone else. So if we're not greenlighting new things, then if we're just going to be greenlighting old things, I'm perfectly fine with saying, if you want a version of Peter Pan that is exactly the way that it was, you've got like 50 of them at this point. So now it's time to open it up and allow people to play. That's just my opinion, but that's how I feel about it.
One, this was a happy accident because I had no idea. So, that was a happy accident. Number two, I'm going to quote a friend of mine, Demetrius, Hellspawn Cosplay. We're coming for all of them.
Shout out to Demetrius. Yes. Shout out to, I know him well. Shout out to him. We feel very similar about this. I think it's one of those things where I'm fine with creating new characters because everyone's like, oh, like even when you think about something, like people are like a black James Bond or a black Superman or whatever it is, and they're like, well, there is a black Superman. Regardless, all that debate, completely fine with it. I understand it, every part of it. If there is a new superhero, like we've got like Blue Marvel or characters like that, right? The studio put that movie out so that we can support it. If you're not going to do that and we keep seeing Superman over and over again, then change it.
Yes.
That's my thing. It's like at a certain point, we can't have the same characters being represented the same way. If they're not going to give us anything new, then we need to at some point include other people. Otherwise, we're literally carrying the past forward and we never change and we never see ourselves. So that's kind of the way that I think about it. I think about visual history as a line. And right now, even for inspiration, when we sit and we draw and we design new things, for inspiration, everybody wants to go back and pull from the past. Let's look at Citizen Kane. Let's look at all these things. And I'm like, those movies are great. We weren't involved in any of them, and we were not included. So at a certain point, I'm like, I don't want to draw inspiration from places or time periods in which I was discriminated against and not included.
Bars again.
I like him. I like him. Bill got it on the head right there.
So, Mike, what you think?
So, damn. When I saw the trailer just now, because I heard about the trailer earlier, I didn't see the trailer. But do y'all remember Pan, the last?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that trailer and was like hella hyped. And then I saw the movie and I was like, ooh. At least looks better than that. But I will say there was nothing to see there. Also, I'm also gonna say, I think it's crazy how jumping off of Phil's conversation, how like some people really be tripping about like the race swapping thing when it's like, okay, fine, you want your Batman to be white, that's cool, right? Fine, whatever. But we can't even have mermaids and fairies. Like
we're not included.
We're
not included. They weren't written that way. They're not. They weren't written
that conversation has been had so many times, and I've literally been in conversations with Dave, like scientifically. I'm like, scientifically?
We can't get
scientific. It's a fairy and a mermaid.
Literally
really
a
gonna-
fancy
Dragon Ball, you know, those were race swapped and nobody was tripping off of that part.
They just hated the movie.
Yeah, they just hated
it was poorly executed.
Yeah. It's like, so can we just focus on the execution for once?
I'm
we have nothing. So
I mean, you got a black Tinkerbell, so it's like number one, it's a black.
We have a black Tinkerbell. We have a brown Peter Pan.
Yeah.
So
shout out for doing the Assassin's Creed onto the boat, by the way. I did appreciate that.
Yeah, right.
I did appreciate that. Just that full on just dive onto the boat.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I heard that like eagle, like this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But that was close enough.
Yeah. So Black Spartan, what do you think?
Oh no, I was at first I was like, okay, and I was like, you know what? Because I'm all for disruption. I am all for disruption, Stats Norm. Like Bill said,
shout out to
he hit the nail on the head. It's a different telling. At the same time, you do have to change the way some stories are told. So I am completely okay with it. I know for a trailer, we're not gonna get a lot of it. It's a teaser trailer. So I want to give it a shot, and at the same time, I'm petty, so I'm just looking forward. I go to the dark side of social media. I go to Twitter. So as soon as that trailer comes out, I just want to look at all the unseasoned ones and go, oh, you sweet summer children.
Oh man, cinematic assassin. That's why we call him Black Spartan. Cinematic assassin. Give us your best.
Hey, listen, I feel like our guests put their whole foot in the serious side of the conversation. I don't want to touch that. That was bars. I'm gonna leave that alone. But I just think I think the trailer looked good to me. I get stuck with Peter Pan as a concept, as a whole. Like when they jumped off the clock, like imagine if you will, Peter Pan was just some little boy that just snuck in. He somehow climbed up there and convinced you that he had superpowers, magic powers, and then your dumbass jump off this clock. And now you standing there in front of St. Peter and Jesus, and you trying to explain how this didn't happen.
You say what had happened was,
but he had said
magic powers.
Like, well, it made sense because look how far up he was. That's what I'm saying. Jesus is
He
like,
sprinkled me with pixie dust. I'm sure he sprinkled me with something.
It's one of those stories that definitely LSD was involved somewhere in the creation.
don't blame
I feel it in my spirit.
Peter was the only one with
This
an
is
umbrella.
actually-
He's the only one that had any kind of sense being up on that clock tower.
I'm just
Only
saying.
one.
It just
It's
makes
just-
sense that it's not literally pixie dust. It's a different type of
It's a different
Nah,
type of-
dude, that's opium. That ain't that ain't weed. That is straight opium.
Like, I don't know how you got up this high on the windowsill. So congratulations on that. However, I am not going out the window.
just believe in it. No, that's not how
That's
flying
not how that
works. I'm not gonna just believe and just do a whole half gainer off Big Ben. That's not how it's gonna work.
Lady Mandalore.
It's very pretty. Very pretty.
Holding reservations for execution.
Very,
That's fair.
very pretty. I am, as you all know, I go by my other name, which is Story Whore. And if you do not give me a story with all of these visuals, I have nothing for you. And that trailer, like I said, it's a lot of noise, but no substance. Like, what is the story? Are you giving me a different rendition? Are you going to go into more of how Peter Pan got here? Are you going to talk about how he formed the Lost Boys? Is it going to just be strictly, almost a straight retelling of Peter Pan? Are you going to go dark? You're not, because it's Disney. But
They're not.
I need to know more. I'm not invested in this at this point. I do not care.
Not yet. You say not yet.
Not yet.
Not
So they didn't get you with sexy Jude Law Captain Hook.
Boy,
When they gonna
is that Jude Law? Don't tell me
no,
that's not Jude Law.
Yeah, that's Jude Law.
Shut up.
I still want Captain Hook's story. You know,
Jude
I
Law.
was minding my business till a boy showed up. I want that.
Yeah. Navy Montel, what did you think?
Not that deep Negro spiritual side.
Wow. Okay. Fun fact. I played Peter Pan when I was in 6th grade in a play, and I thought I was all about something. Okay. And
No, but where's the footage?
Do you know when 6th grade was for me there, young man? You didn't have cameras, you had memories, and we lost all them. We lost all of them. Don't start with me. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. I'm still beaten up by Quantum Mania. We ain't gonna talk about that, Travis.
Oh, we got a review coming later.
Honestly, I've seen too many reachbacks from Disney to try to put in now, and then they want to try to sprinkle in color just to try to say that there's that diversity there. And the problem with that is you can't put chocolate on salt. It doesn't work.
Technically, it
doesn't work. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't.
It's called sea salt, but yeah, it
No.
works.
That's when you put the salt on the chocolate.
Oh, you mean the other way?
You got a bowl of salt and a little bit of chocolate. It ain't working.
Okay, the other way around. All right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Good point.
We're talking diabetic diabetes and high blood pressure and all that other. But I'm like Lady Mandalore. I'm like Kira. I'm gonna stand back and see what they do, because how many times have we been promised something and the delivery was so trash that you can't get that time back? And then we've got to
go ahead.
And see, as a father of 4, and my youngest is 14, she's looking at these images, and I want her to see her own people, but I want it to be in original content. I want it to be from original stories told from original viewpoints. That's why I always talk about Milestone, Chef's Kiss all day, every day. We're talking Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cowan, the whole crew. I'll be a stand for them, because they brought something to the fold that no one else was thinking about and no one thought of. So now we have all these characters.
And they're late to the party, catching up now.
Really?
Exactly. And they shouldn't be late. Those are the things that should be made and should be supported. I think that's kind of where you've got Reggie Hudlin and Nicholas Draper Ivy doing Static. Like you have, it's all there. Static is literally like, it's just money lying on the table. All you have to do is make it, and it'll be fine. At this point, just make it, and we will go see it. The problem is, I think that's the problem, is that it's right there. All it does is beg for development, and yet those things won't get green light, but we'll get 50 billion versions of King Arthur or Robin Hood. Like I can't, and that's the thing. So I'm like, that's where it kind of pressed me into a corner. Right?
I vibes with him. He's telling the truth though. How many Batman movies can we possibly have? It's the same white dude.
I think Phil's my spirit animal.
Just one more. Just one.
He's speaking language. He's speaking my language.
Yeah, he's right.
Shakira, shout out to Shakira Islam. Check her out.
Shakira, hey.
Tinkerbell is a whole menace. Of course she'll be black on this movie. And you know what? That is logic I cannot argue with. I can't argue with that.
I think it's hard because when they initially approached it, when I found out it was Yara, if you just look at Yara and the joy that she brings and the light that she is, it's like, if you're not looking at race and you just think about the spirit of Tinkerbell, she's perfect. She's a perfect casting. So it's just, you don't want to see it. Same thing with Halle Bailey. Perfect Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Great. It's like, if you don't pay attention and you're just looking and you're saying like, does this person embody the character? Of course they do. Yeah. But we all know why. And I think that's the key thing for me. It's just been, I remember growing up, all the movies I watched, I loved kids movies. So I watched Neverending Story, Willow, Flight of the Navigator, E.T., all those movies, right? And never once did I realize I was imagining, I put myself in that place without ever having to see myself. The problem that I see historically is from birth, because of the way the world works, people of color, or specifically if I'm just talking about Black people, we learn that from birth. We have to get in where we fit in. So we have to emote with other people that don't look like us. We have to see them. We have to go to the grocery store and go to that one little corner of the hair aisle. Like we have all of these different experiences. We're constantly looking at and emoting and empathizing with people that don't look like us. It's a muscle. If you don't use it, then you become entitled to it not being there. And I feel like, quite frankly, white people as a whole don't have to do that. They have everything like catered to them. So they don't have to emote. So then when you get to the point where there's violence or anything else, they can't even see their children and our children, right? So it's a problem. It's a huge, and I think people need to see visually that is a big problem. So when you start breaking it down into entertainment has the job of kind of carrying the visual pantheon forward and including people.
So Phil just made his way on my hip hop top list.
I can talk about this all day long.
This man had more bars than the French Quarter. Let's go.
I feel like a Sunday sermon on a Tuesday. I was going to say, that's the collection plate.
That was me on
wrap that
up. Like Jesus. So we got some other blurred news to discuss. We're going to talk about the SAG Awards and NAACP. Before I get into that, I do want to say, if you are not watching or haven't watched Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur on Disney Plus,
it's so good. It's so good.
My God. Oh my God.
Very, very well done.
They did a phenomenal job with this character.
I'm all over this thing.
I am so proud. I am so proud of what they're doing with that show.
The family dynamic, the focus on a 13-year-old Black girl, and everything she's a genius on top of that.
13-year-old Black girl.
The soundtrack.
Right. Oh, so fire.
Right.
So fire. Have y'all read the comic though?
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all know that they actually captured the spirit of the comic. Like,
yes.
You see the long white boxes back there? She's in there. She's in there.
When I finally seen that scene where she's taking over the roller rink, or when she's trying to protect it, and they start playing Childish Gambino, I'm like, oh, I thought that was just for the trailer. They really got a player to play Childish Gambino.
No, we got a whole section. He got a whole section to himself.
Oh, I loved every minute of this show, and Lawrence Fishburne as the Beyonder is everything.
Yes,
let's just say.
Let's say with her, Riri Williams is right behind her as far as the level of genius.
Yes.
And that's a very, very small margin. Right.
It's everything we wanted, and this harkens back to what you were talking about, Phil, bringing in these new characters and putting our stories on the page. And can I just say, like I said, the family dynamic.
It's real.
It really is. It's really is.
It feels so good. They're in a neighborhood. It's a very multicultural neighborhood.
Yes.
It's there. Like you have a beautiful story to being told with Black characters, and the craziest looks, but it works.
Yeah.
The fact that her parents were so oblivious to a dinosaur living right. It's funny to me. You know, it's just funny to me. Oh, I'm gonna go in my closet and just
what I love about this is I read the original Devil Dinosaur when DC Comics had it during the 20-cent era, and they had Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy. That was it.
Yep.
And I said, wouldn't it be awesome if you could actually have a Black girl or a Black boy? And I remember saying this years ago, and then when I seen Moon Girl, I said, yeah, someone listen to me. Oh my God. Oh!
They were by Montel's door with the cup against the door.
Man, you're looking at a guy who got beat up for reading Black Panther as a kid, man. Fuck them. Oh, let's go.
Classic Bernie Mac.
I ain't worried about your feelings. Let's go. What's up?
So, yeah,
it's such a wonderful concept, though, to see this, because our sons and daughters, nieces and nephews see this and they go, that's me.
Yep.
Those
I've
two
actually
words.
looked at mine and said, "Did you watch anything today?" I'm like, I call it culture. Like, I when I talk to the little ones, I say, "This is culture. This is culture for you." You know, I'm in dating you with all this stuff that has our faces. Like, I want you to Moon Girl. Oh, sit down. Let me tell you a story.
Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur is the new Cosby Show, if you think about it. It really is the new Cosby Show, if you think about it. We all sitting down and watching.
Yeah.
Sans the paper towel inside the middle of the cake. Sans that.
Oh my God.
Man. So the SAG, there is, like I said, it's been award season. It's been award season, and our favorite underdogs are really taking it in. They're really taking it in. And we'll start it off with the SAG Awards. Now, the SAG Awards, Brendan Fraser won again.
That boy.
This man, he's up there with Keanu Reeves. He's up there. He's just like, he's invited to the cookout. He might seem a little awkward, but then give him 5 minutes. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
This is a yam. What is it? What's a yam?
I love yams.
These are amazing.
Potato salad.
This isn't pumpkin pie.
You're just like, where has this been all my life?
I have to ask, do you have those marvelous collard greens? Those are amazing.
It's like watching someone discover life for the first time through food, and he's like asking every question.
Yeah.
What is it?
Here's colors, see sounds.
This cornbread is delicious.
That's what this is. This is get out of my kitchen. That's what that is.
I will say he'll help you stay and clean up the kitchen afterwards. I tell you that.
Oh, well,
I will say, Brendan Fraser. My first job, so my first professional job was The Mummy 3 with Jet Li and Michelle Yeoh. And Brendan, that was my first like professional drawing job. And I got to go to set and visit. It was in Montreal. And Brendan Fraser invited me to come down. He showed me his trailer. He showed me watched a stunt sequence, looked at my artwork. The nicest person. Like, so it's like, I will always remember that. Like, super welcoming. He's the main guy on the call sheet and like wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable coming to visit set. I'll never forget that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, a private Brendan Fraser story, and it's been checked and verified now.
So I wish him all the best now. If he sees this now, I wish him all the best, and I think that the accolades he's getting are much.
He's
long
very,
overdue.
considering the road that he had been on. This comeback season for him has been everything. And when he got up there, you can't help but to feel that emotion. Number one. That what he's talking about just sticking in there and staying in there and pushing through, and like people are recognizing, like, yeah, this man's an actor. He's a really nice guy and he's a great actor, and he deserves all these flowers. You know, it's well earned for him. Other news: everything, everywhere, all at once. Cleaning house,
man.
That movie deserved every award it's gotten.
Very much so.
It is a real live action multiverse. Literally a live action multiverse.
It is
a good one.
Nailed it.
A well-written one.
Very well written, very good one.
Yeah.
That cat, number one, Uncle James Hong. Yes, he is. He is.
With the what was he doing?
Because I swear to God, every time I see him he's the uncle. He is the uncle. He's playing the uncle and so forth. But he goes into his speech about how Asians were treated in Hollywood and everything else. And he's right. These are questions that have always been asked over the years. And my God, they earned this. They earned this. And it's crazy that you mentioned that, Phil, because Michelle Yeoh got best performance, outstanding performance by a female actor. And once again, somebody said she was like 54, and I'm like, 54 where?
Look at the guns.
Exactly.
She's been so dope for so long, and just not like, I mean, like, even I remember when she came here, like she was in the James Bond movie with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
So The World's Not Enough or Tomorrow Never Dies?
I think it's
Tomorrow
Tomorrow
Never
Never
Dies.
Dies.
It's Tomorrow Never Dies. It was Tomorrow Never Dies. She was so good in that they actually considered bringing back a Bond girl because she was so dope. Like, I mean, and she's been dope for so long. I've known about her since like back during like Jackie Chan time. Like, Super Cop, right? And before when she was doing full movies out there where she was a superhero and wire work. She was doing all that stuff. She's been incredible for so long. So the fact that it's taken this long to finally get her flowers is kind of ridiculous.
Wait, but that's not on brand though, because when it comes to minorities in general, it's never, you're not getting stuff young. You like have to show them proof for so damn long. You
got Angela Bassett. You got Angela Bassett, it right? Which is just like I'm like. You got to overachieve.
And then after that, they're like, "Oh, how did
see, Will, listen to me this time." We have a thing here where I have this major crush for Angela Bassett, rightfully so. And
would never have guessed, Chris. Not at all.
Will always has to rewind the clock when she's mentioned on the show. He always waits for me to do it. And I'm like, well, guess what? It wasn't me this time.
I'll bring it in. I love her. She's
so it is amazing. It's amazing. Speaking of comeback season, Ki-Wai Kwan, once again, he pulls it out. Outstanding performance for a male actor in a supporting role. Child actor, right?
Yep.
Has done some background work as well on notable films, stunt coordinators and everything else. Mm-hmm. But once again, the speech he gave,
he does it every time.
He does it, and he broke a record. He set a record. Mm-hmm. First Asian to win in this category.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yes. Yeah. Look, Mike is like, "Are you kidding?" Yes.
Yes. I can't watch him without getting emotional.
It's so hard.
It's so great. It's so great to watch that story. And just I relate to it. I was a former child actor, so I was an actor from like 3 until about 16 or 17 or so. That's how I met Aldis, our other business partner. And I know that feeling very well, where you kind of get to a point where you're like, will I work again? Is this good? Is it not good? And you're like, you've gotten successes, but then you're not sure if they will continue. So to hear him talk and to see this full circle moment where he's come to this point is just incredible. Like, I feel so happy for him every time he speaks.
It does. It does. And like I mentioned earlier, our Uncle James over here.
Incredible.
He was getting it in. He was getting
it in. He was.
What I did, and when he did it, I'm like, I'm not even surprised you did that.
he gonna say what he got to say. He been holding that in for a while.
He's like, this is the time.
Mm-hmm. He's like, well, I'm putting all y'all on Front Street. Sally Field got Lifetime Achievement Award, and she was presented with it by no other than her nephew Peter, aka Andrew Garfield. There's a lot of emotions for some reason. It felt natural, didn't it?
Yeah,
it felt natural. I was just like, yeah, it feels right that her nephew would do this. It just
yes.
It was just like, come on, Peter. It's been a while. It's been a while. Abbott Elementary continues to stand out for best outstanding ensemble in the comedy series.
World domination.
World domination.
More, please.
Real.
I love the cast.
Absolutely.
The cast is so good.
It is. Yeah. They've been cleaning house. Damn, they've been cleaning house. All the flowers to that cast. Like, they are doing an amazing job. And they did a thing where they were doing like these little skits where it's called I'm an Actor. And where her Janelle and Quinta are doing this thing, and the back and forth that they're doing, I'm like, I need a spinoff with those two. Or just one episode where those two have to go out together or something. It's just something crazy. Now over in the NAACP Awards, Kira, you'll love this because Water Daddy got
Water Daddy. I love to see it.
Is that what he's called?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Aqua Poppy. Yes.
You can't call him Aquaman, so Water Daddy is next best.
Actually,
and you can say it with attitude.
Aquaman is Water Daddy. Namor is Aqua Poppy. So there's the corrections there.
Aqua Poppy. That's kind of the dopest name ever, though. I hate to admit it. That's so good.
There's the corrections there, but yeah, you know, getting the outstanding performance from a male actor.
Yo, he killed that. Like he had presence on that screen every time.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
He
it
commanded your attention.
though.
There's
Yes.
my baby.
There's
There's my baby.
Miss
Viola Davis. Oh,
outstanding
my
performance
God.
by a female
About
actor.
damn time too.
I'm like, y'all need to catch up. If y'all haven't seen this film, y'all need to watch The Woman King. I swear to God.
I did a review on my channel, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, I loved this movie from beginning to end. Storytelling, character development, the setting, everything was on point. There was no filler in this. And if someone says there was, I'm punching you in your face. You felt straight up.
Yeah.
Tears were shed.
That movie was so damn good.
Fists were clenched.
And the performances on that, especially Esu.
Yep.
Look here. Here's the bottom line. You had the cast of Wakanda in this film. You just did. Including the samurai who's getting speaking roles now. Like she was
about time she did. That woman's been just do not.
Her grind has been atrocious lately. I love it.
Do not give that woman a butter knife, because I don't want no part of that. Would you like to eat something, miss? Absolutely, I'll feed you. Just please don't kill me. Oh, like that.
That'd be the first woman you go get a plate. It's like, nah, I'm gonna get my plate. I'm good. You want something? You want something? I'll get you something. I just can't sure.
Let me make you a sandwich.
Man, so Gabrielle Union Dwayne Wade received the President's Award, and she gave a fantastic speech as well, dealing with trans Black people. And she once again putting folks on Front Street. This is what I enjoy about our people. We are at the stage now where we're taking no trash from no one.
We're gonna talk about your mama.
Talk about your mama, but we
gonna put you on. We're gonna put you on.
We're gonna make your mama talk about you. How about that?
And then we're gonna walk away. And I'm like, we're gonna blackball her. Good luck on that.
That's been the beauty part of these speeches. They have made people uncomfortable. Made them listen. That's the key part. You can make them uncomfortable, but did they listen? Because I can punch you in the mouth all night. But what did you do to make me punch you in the mouth?
that part.
It's a very violent episode.
He's like, and did you feel it? Did you feel it?
Because that's my intention. I want you to feel this.
Oh my God!
Once again, Abbott Elementary cleaned up. This was their weekend for sure. They cleaned up again. They cleaned up here at the NAACP Awards for Outstanding Comedy Series. And then last but not least, the Queen. Not only winning for Best Supporting Role in the film in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but also Outstanding Actress in 911. And by the way, highest paid actress on television right now.
Incredible.
911, love that show, man. Come on.
She was also, I'm going to give her a shout out. She was also honored last night at the Costume Designers Guild Awards by Ruth Carter.
Yes,
as a distinguished collaborator.
Madam Ruth, let's go.
So she was acknowledged there last night as well. She gave an amazing speech. It was very powerful and very much so. She just makes us look good. She's incredible.
It's an amazing feeling. It's I can't hit that note, but like you hear my voice is I won't be talking for like a week.
I can. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna make
She is the queen. You shall give her the proper respect.
Yes. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We're gonna come back with our guest, Phil Butte and Michael Uwande of 9B Collective. We're going to talk about all their great works that they're doing. And until then, here's two commercials we got actually.
Running low on energy, long days and even longer nights. Tired of all the other energy drinks and bars promise you a lot and never delivering? Need to make it through work, but want a product that can keep up with your busy lifestyle? Want no longer? Try Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls. The balls that are so smooth and with a load of nutrients and vitamins to really get you up and bouncing off the walls. made with all natural ingredients and healthy junk to satisfy even the pickiest eater. Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls are sold everywhere where you buy your junk. And now, for those who want that extra kick in the butt, comes Chef's Heavy Duty Chocolate Salty Balls with 120% more caffeine than the leading brand. Disclaimer: this product has not been approved by the FDA or World Health Association. Warning: this product is not intended for consumption by children, elderly people, or women who are pregnant or may become pregnant. You might even get pregnant.
Hey everybody, it is your man on the wall, Chris Fury here from Blurred's Eye View. We've got some great news. Guess what? We are now an affiliate with Otaku Noir. What? How can you get some of that? Who is Otaku Noir? Let me explain it to you. Otaku Noir is a blurred mystery box company, and they give you some of the best blurred content for some of the best, most talented blurs that's out here today. You need to get in on this. How can you get in on this? Just follow this link right at the bottom and type in the blurred code Blurred's Eye View to get a discount off when you go to checkout. Check out Otaku Noir for all their best blurred stuff. I love my box. I'm sure you're gonna love yours. Check you guys later. Right, here we go. Commercial break over. There we are. Let's get
Chris,
Lady Mandalore in the building. Yes.
Before we talk to these magnificent gentlemen for the things they have created, I got a bone to pick with you, sir.
There's always a bone with me. I'm the villain. Don't you understand?
No. We are not going to do this today. Okay? I'm going to, because you said, I love my box.
I knew you was gonna say it.
Oh my God. I said, bro.
I feel good. I feel great.
Because we, being affiliated with Taco Noir is magnificent. And the rest of the crew love them. They made me an affiliate too, and I the boxes are just incredible. If you guys want something that's away from Loot Crate, please get away from them. Please support a blurred-owned business who's out here working hard, doing everything for the game and putting it out there for the community, because the Salt Shakers ain't gonna give us the money. We got to make it on our own. Let's go.
Down, Salt Shaker.
I felt like that was a sermon. Salt Shakers ain't gonna give us shit. Say it again.
This is what I love about this platform. I've created. I'm so glad I created this platform because I get to talk to people like Phil Boutte and Michael Wandy, 9B Collective. First off, I want to, for those who are watching and you don't know who they are,
y'all sleeping.
That's your fault.
Let me impart this on you right quick.
Watching the game on BET, but y'all know who they is.
Y'all gonna be mad.
Michael looking like a cheese.
Outstanding.
You're lost.
Pants.
Oh, you goddamn right. I want to be counted. Do that shit. Do that shit. Do it. I say when I die.
Or was that a threat?
some of us could be killed. Welcome back.
But do you hear them? But do you hear them though?
You
hear them though.
Once again, as it was stated before, you have no idea what you're in for. If you, number one, thank you for working on some of the best Hollywood blockbusters and television shows.
Yes.
Some of that action right there.
Thank you.
You have worked on, your team has worked on some of the best and brightest. And this is number one. I love concept art from television shows and movies because there's outfits and looks that you don't get to see.
Mm-hmm.
And you like, man, why didn't they go with that? Because it looks amazing. You know, like there in the concepts, the ideas, the looks, as Candy B will say, the looks with the EWKS. The looks. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. So being the first Black concept artist studio, number one, you're welcome. Did you hear that? Because I got a voice of thunder, so I'm gonna make sure you feel it too. We'll start you guys off. When did you realize you wanted to create this studio?
2020. So the year that just that whole
that year
that was 15 years long. We partnered with the Concept Art Association. They do a monthly drink and draw. So every month they have a theme, right? It could be Santa Claus, it could be female empowerment, it could be whatever the theme is, masquerade, right? They do one every month, and at a bar or a winery where artists can get together and just hone their skills by drawing, a costumed model, right?
Right.
So in 2020, it's actually Concept Art Association was started by Rachel Meinerding and Nicole Hendricks Herman. And both of them were like, so we're two white ladies and Black History Month's coming up and we don't want to do this drink and draw. So can you guys, basically we don't think it's, they kind of just called on us and said, can you guys do this one? And I was like, yeah, this would be great. And we had been talking about it. So we decided we partnered with them and we did an Afrofuturistic, Afro-punk themed drink and draw. We hired the Jackson Agency and they gave us 2 Black models, one male, one female. And we did it at a bar in Little Tokyo called the Far Bar, because that's where they had been doing them. And we noticed when it came up, it was maxed out the door to capacity. It was like 150 plus, which had never happened before for them. And that, how many people showed up. But what we noticed is it was a ton of Black artists all in one place. I had never seen, especially in LA, that many Black artists, like between animation, video games, live action, you name it, they were there. Directors, producers, writers, everybody showed up for this thing. So it was really great. And it was the first time that some of us had met in person. Like we knew of each other's work, but we never work on the same projects. We're never in the same place. So it's like, I'm in live action in my own little bubble. Someone else is in animation. Someone else is in video games. So it's like, that was the biggest part, was just seeing that. And as me and Mike started to kind of walk around and talk to people, we started noticing a similar theme in the stories that people were telling. Like, first off, it was community. Like, I've never seen anything like this. How can we have more of these? This is so great. This never happens, that type of deal. The second thing was talking to professionals and finding out that they had professional isolation, which is, I work at a video game company. There are 400 plus employees. There are only 3 Black people in the entire company, and we never work on the same project, or we're never working together, right? Which caused me to look at my career. So I started back, I said it earlier, in 2007. The first time, and now mind you, on big projects, like any of the big, blockbuster films, there's multiple illustrators working in the department. I work in costumes, so I normally work for the costume designer. Usually there's like 2 to 3 of us, or more working on a project. 2007 to 2019, that's the first time I sat next to another Black artist, was 2019.
Damn.
Wow.
So I was by myself pretty much that whole time. Now, granted, there were more artists that came in, but we never got to work together again, right? And so that's how me and Mike bonded. We met at Comic-Con. one year, and same thing. It was kind of like we had people trying to introduce us, and then they were just like, like it was like Spider-Man meme. Like we were pointing at each other, like, yeah, and like, like it was like, great, finally, and that's kind of that was the birth of the inception of 9B in terms of thinking about like, okay, we should do more of these. So remember, that's February of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then in March of 2020, quarantine. So everything shut down. So we were like, we had all these plans. We were like, oh, we should reach out to Issa Rae and try and do a drink and draw at Hilltop. Like we had all these plans, no drink and draws, nothing in person, everything shut down. And it kind of killed the vibe. We were like, man, how are we going to do this now? And then you had like Murder Hornets. And then you had Floyd. There was all these things, like every month there was something else, right? And it just was like the longest year. And that's what prompted us to start 9B, which was like, we need to open this up and do it bigger, have primarily BIPOC artists. We started to notice that there was a problem with diversity behind the scenes. And then I'll let Mike talk about it more because he talks about a pipeline issue that he noticed in terms of like artists in general. So go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So for myself, I've been, into art since I was a kid. And I was always the Black kid who draws, right? Since I could remember, was into anime when it wasn't okay, all that. And eventually, stuff happened, and I kind of walked away from art for a long time. Still kept my nerd card, but walked away from it for a long time. When I decided to get back into it, I remember just looking at the landscape and being like, I don't see anybody who actually looks like me kind of working in the industry. And I was like, that's kind of weird. So I kind of decided to pivot. And when I went to pivot, I went to art school. Luckily, I had two longtime friends who were also big-time nerds who would kind of help me get into those schools. And one of the first schools I went to was in San Francisco. It's about 10,000 students. I was one of 2 art students who were Black. And the whole, out of 10,000, right? And I was like, how the hell is this possible? And it got to a point where when I was there, they're like, oh, you didn't draw that. This isn't your work. This isn't your work. And I'm like, why? Why is it not my work? Right? Heard probably the majority of my career. This isn't yours. You didn't do this. And when I say why, they just kind of like almost like go into glitch mode. They're like, they don't want to
not glitch mode.
Right. So eventually I moved to another art school that's supposed to be like a really well-renowned art school called Art Center. And once again, only Black guy there. And it was even worse dealing with some of the things that I was dealing with. And I was like, every time I would see a Black student, they come in for a semester, we get super cool. And I'm like, yeah, finally another one. And then they're like, man, fuck this, I'm out of here. And they leave. And I'm like, no, please.
Don't leave me here.
Yeah, don't leave me. And so,
don't leave me. Dante, don't leave me.
In the rain, like, please.
The usher in the rain. You gotta do the reach. You gotta do the rain.
Please, baby, why?
And I recognized, like, when I would ask, it was always the same reasons. It was either, man, this school costs too much money. They ain't looking out for us like that, or nah, this ain't for me, right? And it was stuck because I'm like, damn, all of those are pretty fixable, but the schools don't care because we're not the majority. They get their money. That's all they care about, right? And what I've learned that leads to is when it comes to Black content or content with Black characters in it, there's not a Black hand actually, those things. Therefore, when you see a movie, you're like, this don't feel right, which just happened to me yesterday. I'm like, oh, it's because there's not a Black hand or Black voice in the room. And so one of the things that we recognize is like, all right, well, me being Nigerian, my dad was like, you are going to be a doctor or lawyer. No. No. And I'm like,
the path has been laid for you. Okay.
It was laid for me. And then I was like, I want to draw. He's like, you can draw bones. You know, like, all right, so I recognize how that halted me for about 10 years, right? So for 10 years, I just stopped drawing because I was like, I guess I draw bones or die, and I didn't want to draw bones. So, but other people were going through other things like, okay, you got the parent situation, but also it's not cool. Right, you don't see anybody like you doing it, so you don't really see that path. Whereas if you like say NFL, basketball player, whatever, music, you see that path is already laid out for you. You have more support going in that direction than you would going in something like art or design, right? Because most people don't understand what design is at its as its theory. So we wanted to kind of help change that by saying, hey, well, first of all, we're here, right? We Black, and we actually Black, not the skin folk kinfolk thing. It's like
that part.
So we want to showcase that, but also showing that Black comes in all different types, right? So it's not this this type that everyone tends to think we are. It's not this monolithic thing. We have a range, and just because you see me looking at anime doesn't mean I can't be wearing Jordans, right?
Exactly.
Literally, you can do whatever. And I know that with that being said, this younger generation is very lucky. I know we all agree here because we've been through it ourselves. They kind of get to already fall into that, and there's no judgment, right? So we know that we have to really help the parents understand, hey, this is a way to make a living. You won't be professionally poor. There's actually a lot of money to be made and a lot of influence to be had by actually being designers and artists. So we want to help manifest that by bringing in artists into the company. If we see their potential, which is a big thing for us, Phil included, it was always being brought in for our potential is being brought in for what we've done, right? But when you get a job, it's or before you get a job, it's well, how much have you worked? What have you worked on? It's well, I haven't worked on anything. They're oh, well, I can't work with you. And it's not really fair. So we want to make sure that we change that and say, okay, we'll give you a chance based on your potential rather than your experience. And all of that together has create really great artists that we've worked with now that have seen just kind of grow up, right? And just level up and hit these levels that most of them would have never gotten to if they would have just waited for, Netflix or one of these other companies to pick them up. And something that Phil spots all the time is they always ask us oh, well, where are you finding these people? And it's these are the same people that have applied to you for 10 years.
There you go. Say that. Say that.
Literally haven't even seen them just because, right? And it's a big thing to us that we actually help change that narrative, because one of the things that we understand also is the more people we help train and raise up and give chances, they're eventually going to go out and then they're going to go and spread to these different companies. And then they're going to start bringing in people who look like them as well. And then eventually there'll be a change in the content that we see and how it's done. But also visually, as well as, as far as writing even goes, right? Just little things where you're you have someone in the room who says, that's not right, right? And also changing the bitterness that can happen, because one of the big things that happens within the industry is we talked about earlier, we don't get seen till we're older. And so that fire kind of dies out a little bit, but we're trying to catch them while the fire is still hot, raging, right? And really encouraging them to get to that level and let them fly. Because that's one of the things that really is unfortunate, is it becomes so much of a perseverance act, more for us than any other group. And we want to help change that, where it's no, it should be based on what you can do, your talent, your potential, and you actually showing improving when you get the chance. So that's one of the big things that we've been doing with 9B.
This is what I enjoy about that platform. The fact that you've made a table for yourself, and now you're inviting other people. You're opening the doors for other people of color, creatives, to put their stamp on it and be involved in all these projects and actually see themselves in not just the projects, but in the people that they're working with and working close to and having influence. On a side note, how does your father feel now?
The best question ever.
Nigerian parents hard to please.
It's funny, there's two views, right? There's my opinion, and then there's other people around who have their opinion. My opinion is he cares a little bit, but when he sees my name in the credits, when his friends report to him, that's when he's oh, your name is in the credits. We have made it from ashy to classy.
They always humble brag.
When I say it literally takes someone else to be like, hey, your son was in the credits. He's like, oh, okay, I see.
Can't bite that humbleness.
It's always that humble brag afterwards. Like, have you seen my son, the artist?
You know the story changed. It's like, yeah, I'm the one who encouraged him to do that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Wait,
Exactly.
hold on. No. Father,
I always knew he had it in him.
I feel like he just sits at the end of the movie and he just goes, Wandi.
It's like there's no extra credits after that. There is for me.
Oh my god.
So when you have the projects that you have, it's hard to say at this point. Like, is there a dream project? Is there a dream project that you want to do that you comes out of your own studio, not just someone else can bringing you in and say, hey, we need you on something here? Is there something that you just say, we need to put this out? Like, we have to put like hands on something and put that out. Like Phil mentioned earlier, Milestone has a whole gold mine.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking about that. Now, I want you to notice both of them are both swinging in sync in different directions right now. As you're asking this question, I'm going, the body language tells everything.
So, or is that the project? I don't know.
I feel like we're getting an NDA territory.
Yeah, I was.
Might be.
The man in the black.
Just give us a wink and a nod, and you know.
I swear, about to see a hand come across the shoulder like that's enough.
He's behind the camera with a cue card. That says,
You know how black folks give that nod when they see each other. Oh, we got you. Spartan, did you want to add something?
I was looking for the black hand to show up. Like I just was waiting for that hand's gonna show up on one of their shoulders. Is like, and that's gonna do it for the day.
You're gonna have that contract show up. I'm like, it's just gonna show just like this. I'm like, you remember the contract? Remember?
Hey, I was about to say,
let me tell you about this project. It's gonna sound like Russell Simmons. Like Russell Simmons. Thank you for coming out. God bless and good night. And then I
was gonna say, dang, Chris kind of took my question because I was gonna ask you guys if there was a dream project that you would love to do, and I was like, God dang it. Andy mentioned. And I was gonna sit there and say about, well, have you talked about a certain? And then Navy said Milestone. I'm like, God dang it!
I didn't say Milestone. He did. I went. That's what I did.
I go for the jugular.
I squeal like a 10-year-old kid. You know.
I don't ask the Barbara Walters questions, but you know, we're here to have fun and make it right.
I can give a half answer. One of them is, as far as like something I would love to work on, is something that hasn't been done. I'm a like real life nerd as far as video games go, and there's a certain approach that I feel we haven't seen ourselves in yet that can go really far, and I'm surprised that no one has tapped it. But I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do that. So that's one thing. As far as the project that I worked on. The project that I enjoyed, and I don't know if the movie's gonna be good, so don't judge me. But I'll say why.
I love the disclaimer. Yes.
Yeah. Disclaimer, and I'm even leaving a slight pause in between just to make sure that everybody heard that. Is Blade for me, and the reason why is because that was the first project where I've always thought, like, as illustrators and designers, we're essentially actors with a pen, right? So you're literally putting yourself into a role and saying, like, all right, how would I be if I was Captain America? How would I be if I was Blade? How would I be, whatever. That was like the first project where I was like, oh, I get to just be myself. And then I recognized that the difference of what happens when you have, say, someone who is of a specific culture. So me, I'm black, and there's Blade, and Blade is black. And I was like, oh, I don't have to switch up anything. I get to just literally do me unfiltered, right? And then I noticed, I'm sorry to say this, but the advantage that a lot of people have by being able to design for them, by them, right? Like getting to do their own thing. Like that's my first time actually getting a chance to like design something that is literally just me, right? And just unfiltered. I don't have to like do much research in the sense of like, oh, how would this person walk? How would this person talk? It's like, just comes right out. So it was kind of like an awakening process for me where I was like, oh shoot, like this is what a lot of people have been feeling the whole time. This is my first time feeling it after like 8 years in the industry working. So that's kind of nuts for me.
So what he's saying on the baseline is we pop flavor and drip sauce everywhere we go. I'm just
that is cool. That is cool. That is cool at that point. And I respect you for not giving out the video game idea, because as a video game fan, I was like, wait, where are you going with this? You ain't finna sit there and be like, and I respect that because people are listening. So I heavily respect that you did not say anything about that. So I just look forward to whatever.
He's talking about Among Us. Come on, man. We know.
Just blink twice for Microsoft. Blink 3 times for Sony. Blink 4 times for indie games. That's all I ask.
In the meantime, I'm gonna put my Sherlock Holmes influence to work. Lady Mandalore, you got anything?
Yes, and I don't know if you can answer it because I always come up with these very broad, general questions. However, if I get an answer, wins a win. If I know a lot of people I know a lot of people that are very, very excellent artists. I don't think they have the outlet or the sources because they don't live in like major cities. How would you want to be found if you are in places where you're not able to be seen? Like, how do you make yourself stand out? Like, do my friends send their stuff to me to send to you? Do they send it to you directly? Do they talk to 3 other people down the block and around the corner? Do they make a phone call? Like, what needs to happen in order for you to find those type of people?
You want me to answer that, Phil, or you?
Yeah. I think I like it's. I guess what it is. Well, Mike, you go first. I think I can back you up with this one.
Okay.
Here at Bird's Eye View, we hit the hard-hitting questions.
Oh my God! The microphone away.
So I feel like there's a few different ways of handling it, and it depends on obviously the proximity to the industry, right? Which is like LA-ish. I can say 2 different ways. One is, yes, send to you to send to us, or to us directly, or even sending it to our email, which is 9beatcollective.com at our website. Mm-hmm. But then the other way is, and the way that I actually did it was probably one of the hardest ways possible, because I always make things difficult for myself. Someone told me, you have to use the internet. And I was like, oh, I have to? And just because they said that, I don't know why I did this, but just because they said I had to use it, I did not use it. It doesn't make any sense, but it's literally, I'm a masochist by nature. So I started going to every convention possible and just talking to people. And it's funny how far you get by just FaceTime, by just meeting people in person. So when you hear Comic-Con, when you hear WonderCon, when you hear Lightbox Expo, when you hear Phil Boutte is going to be presenting in New Mexico soon. Like when you hear about
I was like, I am?
I saw Phil's face. He's like, wait, there's a scheduling conflict.
Man, that's the first I heard of this. Hold up.
You see that calendar and then you'll understand. I'm just like, wait, where am I supposed to be?
I do not remember that.
It was like, those are the opportunities that really go further than online or social media. And that was actually the approach that I took the majority of the time. So I felt like meeting people in person, for some reason, there's a concrete like thing there where people meet you and they remember you regardless. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the internet, they remember you as long as you're like constantly like showing up, right, on the internet. But for some reason, when you meet people in person, if they leave an impression, which is generally like they're an asshole or they're nice. Yeah. Right. Or if they're really dope, or if they're not, but they seem like really humble, like you somehow remember those people a lot easier than if you just see someone on the line and you're just kind of scrolling through. So I always suggest trying to meet people when possible. And one of the things that I've also heard is like, well, I don't have any money. When I was doing this, you couldn't have been broker than me, and Phil knows. You couldn't have been broker than that. I'm like, for censorship purposes, I'm not even gonna tell y'all how broke I was, but I was broke.
I was about to say, is he gonna say this out loud? I'm like, okay.
Mike's probably like, you know what? That PPP loan was looking real tempting.
But that man was enjoying the water sandwiches, wasn't he? I know he was.
The ramen and the potted meat. Oh, the potted meat.
Oh God. Oh Lord.
Oh my God. Cinematic assassin. What do you got?
I remember asking my mom one day. It like all phased into view. I remember I was like at home and I would eat ketchup sandwiches, and then one day I was like 20 something, and I thought about it and I was like, were we poor? Like all phased into view, and I was like, oh man.
Wow. I got
the realization that your finances were not.
Wait a minute.
You know what's crazy?
I like them, but was it just
jump in on that? I remember always thinking that I was like well off growing up in the hood, and then when I went to like white school, I was like, hold up. There's a difference. I didn't realize I was poor until I moved over here, and I was like, oh, they're making fun of me because I ain't got nothing. Okay, I see there's a difference. Realization kind of hurts sometimes, but whatever.
It's like I thought spam was a delicacy. I didn't know that was.
It is a delicacy. It is. Okay.
It's an import from Hawaii. What are you talking about? It's a fine Hawaiian delicacy.
Y'all don't fry your bologna?
curling up in the pan.
That might
right. Flip it over, slip on the fried on both sides.
Doing on the red string after you done take it off the shoe on the red string.
Man, I'm sorry, it just made me think of cream corn all of a sudden.
See, now we're all having horrible flashbacks.
Yeah, wow.
Like that struggle meal's real. Cinematic assassin. What do you got?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. I feel like we mentioned it earlier. There's a lot of concept art that we don't always get to see. And I'm just curious, in y'all's careers, has there ever been, I don't know how the process works. Maybe you submit like 3 different looks and they go with one, but you was like really secretly like leaning one way. You was like, nah, this the fire though. Like this one right here, like you. Is there anything that was like you was real hype about, and like this gonna be the one, and then they
Mike
pick something else?
His mind right now.
Mike
is losing his mind right now.
Oh man! I'll go first because Mike's story about this is way better. But yes, all the time, all the time. Sometimes it also gets a little political, meaning that like sometimes they'll make a choice, it comes out. It doesn't do well, and they're like, "You can't show this because it's obviously better." Like there's stuff where it's just like, or it's obviously just what they should have chose. Other times, it's just through the process of design and elimination, it gets weeded out, and they pick something. I always feel like they pick the one that I like the least
every time,
every single time.
Every time, it's like clockwork. This has happened to me so often that I almost have to work around, and so. I literally will do, and I don't care about saying this on purpose because I'll say this all the time. They'll say, hey, give me, a guy in a black sweatshirt, right? And I say, okay, I will give them a dude in a black sweatshirt, and I'll give them what they ask for. Then I give them what I want, and then I give them a combination of what they want, right? Usually, after they see what they want, they're like, all right, well, you know what? Can we do another take on that? So usually they'll end up going with the thing that's like what I want plus what they want. And then I'll do multiple designs of what I want, but in different variations, but then give them what they want again. And usually I'm just kind of finessing the hell out of it.
I respect the 3D chess you just played.
It's work. So it's like, it's extra work, but sometimes when you get to see something on screen that's actually what you did and it's like your decision that you were proud of, that feels a lot better than like, I got the job done, but I don't like what I see, right? So that's just like a pride thing a little bit, but yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes it'll literally, like you said, it'll be political sometimes.
Mike is generally like, you're gonna get this black sweatshirt. I want you.
You're gonna like it just the way I did it too.
Right.
you know what's crazy is it'll usually be the most vanilla out of all the concepts that you do.
Always. It'll usually be literally the most plain, because what they do is they feel like that design will read the best to everyone. So the more complex it is, or the cooler, to a degree, the cooler it is, the less likely it is to go through. Which is just for us, we end up just saving those ideas for ourselves. You just end up kind of putting them back in the burner, or thinking about this could have been this, but it ended up being this.
So
y'all don't want no hot sauce.
So basically, they didn't want to try
sauce.
hot sauce or fried bologna, but they said we're gonna go with the cold sandwiches.
There is no hot sauce in that bag.
No
hot sauce.
No pranks, none of that.
None of it.
Navy Montel, what you got to ask?
Well, first of all, gentlemen, I applaud what you do, because as a lifelong blurred from the age of 8, when I realized what a comic book was, I never got to see people like myself creating the things that I loved, and I've just dreamed of this. And we're in a, and I will say this, we're in a renaissance now where we get to see gentlemen like yourself and other creators out here who are thriving, who aren't worried about trying to get something from somebody. You're making something for somebody. So with me, I always ask this question because my favorite question is the reverse time machine. If you could go back to 9, 10, 11-year-old you at a point where you were frustrated because you love what you love, and you could give yourself a piece of advice that kept you going and kept you pushing, what would you tell yourself?
I almost got scared when you started that question, because you were like, if you could go back, and I was like, we're black, we don't go back. We
don't play them games here.
I got real nervous, and I was like, okay, cool, yes.
I kind of figured you were feeling all set up because I saw your face like, the hell is he going to ask?
I was like, go back where? I think that when I think about this question, often I would tell myself, I think I would have tried to get myself a little earlier. I remember being younger and my mom asking me why I didn't draw black characters, and that was a big eye opener for me, not realizing that I wasn't even doing it. I was just drawing what I saw. But I wish I could go back and catch myself even earlier and start that process, because I probably was like maybe in like middle school at that point, or like elementary school going into middle school. And I wish I would have caught it earlier so I could have expanded my brain to draw what I wanted to see faster. But I felt like that indoctrination is real, like in terms of like drawing what you see, being inspired by what you see. And then you grow up with this knowledge, like everybody gets excited about things that they grew up with. That's just human nature, right? Like, so you there's a cartoon you watch, there's a comic book you read, something, and you build your language off of that thing. So it could be Star Wars for some people, it's whatever it is, right? You build like everything off of that, your love for that. And your love as a child is much different. Like something you're endeared to as a child, it's like it imprints on you and it sticks, right? But somebody else could have missed that moment and it's gone. Like we took our friends before Captain EO was out of the theater, but out of Disneyland, before it left, we took some of our friends that had never seen it, and we're sitting there and we're all into it, and they were just like, the theater was bouncing and bouncing off beat because they added a bunch of crap to it, and they're just sitting there like, what is this? Like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But we watched it when we were younger, so we're like, it's the coolest thing ever. And it was Michael Jackson in his prime doing the thing, and basically turning this cool functional planet of really dark and creepy designs into gay people. Like, it was just the funniest thing. Like, it's just like gay dancers, right? It was just super funny. But I bring that up to say that you impart on that and you get really into it. And I think that what ends up happening is that if that language, or if that visual language doesn't include you, you get excited about things that exclude you. So you start saying like, oh, I ask kids often, I say, okay, we're gonna do a little exercise. We've got a little kid that's going on an adventure. What does he look like? Or what does she look like? And they'll usually draw the same type of character, right? And then you say, okay, what's the little best friend look like? And they'll usually draw like a pudgy little redhead kid with, like a bag of chips or something. Like, it's a character type that we're all used to seeing. Now, granted, you're endeared to it because that's what you grew up seeing, but I'm like, hey, how about a little Asian girl with dreads? Or how about, I'm like, let's try something else. Like, I think it's like forcing it out. So I wish I could have, that's a long answer, but I wish I could have told myself to do that earlier, so I could have honed that skill earlier and put that out onto the world faster. like more.
You say it's a
and
long
encourage
answer, but it's an amazing answer.
It's definitely an amazing
It's
answer.
an amazing answer.
It's helpful.
I find that, let's get this up. Whom are your influences? What enticed you to say, you know what? Besides wanting to see myself or someone who looks like me in this medium, who were the influences that you followed? You like, whose art did you follow? Like, through comic books, through animation, like, who did you say, man, I like this style? I want to try to touch on that a little bit.
For me, Gustav Klimt and Yoshitaka Inamo. Yoshitaka Inamo, artist.
Yes.
It's like funny because though I'm working in a different medium, right, for like entertainment and film, those influences are very present in my work if someone's able to break it down. I really like admire their work and also their work ethic. Yoshitaka has been going since before I was born.
Ever. I was gonna say forever.
70s at least, up until still now. And it's just that longevity that I really appreciate, but also his kind of reckless abandon in his style. There's an obvious style that he has, but his style is also very unique, and he's taking a lot of chances in this work. And someone like Gustav Klimt, which I could see influence of Gustav Klimt and Yoshitaka's work, also kind of did that. He kind of did a Picasso type of thing where he started off very academic and like, oh yeah, he's really good. And he basically said, you know what, fuck this. I'm tired of this. And that's what he actually became known for. And I really admire that because I think a lot of times, not even just as artists, but as people, we put ourselves in this box that we think people need to see us in. And we almost live out a lot of our lives as like kind of a lie in a respect. And I think that when people are able to say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do what I want to do. Like being a blurred is technically that, right? It's like allowing yourself to be in this box and being like, well, y'all don't have to like this, but I like it. And then you eventually follow or you find your tribesmen. I kind of appreciate people and artists who can do that. And, they clearly appreciate themselves because they're making a lot of money off of the decisions, the hard decisions that they've made. So, and sometimes it's not to be taken literal, but sometimes even the sense of like us starting a company, right? Which is like a big chance to take. That was us jumping outside of the box. So, yeah.
Okay. Phil?
Nice. Mine would be, Gustav Klimt is definitely there. Egon Schiele and Renee Grau, fashion illustrator. Love all of that. I remember seeing that because I remember especially going into college and seeing more of their work. Their work, as old as it is, felt new. It felt like for the time period that they were in, it just felt like they were onto something, and it always felt kind of forward thinking. So I'd probably say that when I was more into film and thinking about production designing and stuff like that, I was very much so a fan of Steven Spielberg. Like I grew up on those films and kind of the imagination and wonder of that time period. I think that was probably that influenced me a lot. Just I think I'm a perpetual kid, and I constantly force the thought of imagination as being a muscle. And fighting all the time to not lose it, like to make yourself just sit in silence and think about what you can think about without outside influence. And then like kind of channeling your heroes through your work and kind of figuring out ways of, kind of putting that back into the world. But I think those are the influences that I feel like were strongest for me growing up.
Okay. Name a project that you just found extremely difficult, or a project that you couldn't believe you were working on.
All of them.
It's hard. I'd say, I definitely, Black Panther was a big one for me. But it was a full circle moment for me. I tell that story often. As a child actor, I stopped acting not because I wasn't getting work. I stopped because I didn't like the roles I was getting. So as a teen,
there we go.
As a teen, I remember being very, by the power. I would just remember being very I was aware that every role I was being offered wasn't like me, and everyone's like, it's acting, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, sure, I'll go play the gang member or the drug dealer once or twice. Why is every role I'm being offered that? every single one. Why is that the only thing that I can go audition for? So I'm like, where is my life? You know, now granted, I got teased for growing up and being the Cosby Kid. So I had both my parents graduated from UCLA. You know, we were like upper middle class. Like I didn't see, and my friends and my family, like that was the norm for me. So I didn't understand. I was like, okay, well, it is kind of corny looking back on it, being teased for having things be the right way, which is weird. So I was like, that's corny. But then past that point, I was just like, why do we have to go back to, you know, which is now highly problematic, but why do we have to go back to the Cosby Show? Why is that the only show that exists where that's the norm, where they have two parents, both highly successful, great kids, teaching? Like, why do we have that when that's the norm? I was like, what do you guys think we do? Do you think that we like hang off the walls and eat with our feet? Like, I don't understand why that's not on TV. So that was a big problem for me. So I stopped. And then I got frustrated, and then I went to school to learn to draw, which is the only other thing I did in my trailer. Like in between jobs and stuff, I would sit and draw. So I learned to production design. I kind of combined my love of entertainment and drawing together, and I started art directing, and I was doing big music videos and all of that stuff. And then by the time I got to costume and did Black Panther, I remember working on Black Panther and A Wrinkle in Time at the same time. I was working on both before they came out.
Wow.
And that's
Ruth Carter.
Yes. So I was able to then look at my daughter, who at the time, you know, she was younger, but she also, her first president is Barack, you know, so it's like she had the Obamas, she had Ant Farm, she had all these different shows, she had Doc McStuffins, like she had all this cool stuff.
She had the good stuff,
now, right. And now she's about to get Black Panther, and then this movie about a little Black girl that goes on an adventure. And I was like, that was a full circle moment for me, where I realized I was like, okay, I finally came back to like younger Phil, who was agitated. I'm actually making a difference in this now, and that felt good.
That right there.
That was a good.
That in itself is the message that we're sending it, because the fact that she came up in that time, she's surrounded by the blackness.
She doesn't have the same struggle. Her mentally, she won't have what I had, and that felt good to know.
Yeah,
that felt really good to know.
What about you, Mike?
So I want to recount the question. The question was, what project was one of the hardest that we've worked on, right?
Right. One of the hardest project, or one you couldn't believe you worked on.
I think for me, it was Moon Knight. I think because
good God.
I always have to like filter my like some of my shit might come out too raw, but I think for me it was Moon Knight, and the reason why is because I felt like it was a show and prove moment for myself. Never about showing and proving to other people, it was more so to myself, where if I'm saying like I could do that, and you get the chance to do it, you better show that you can do it, right?
There you go.
One of the big was I felt like the challenge of that character, you know, it might seem like a simple character, it's a guy in a white suit. But that's also very difficult. It's a guy in a white suit.
But it was a sharp white suit. That's for damn sure.
It was a real challenge. And it was like, you know, trying to, for one, you know, of course, obey the Marvel law of making it look like a Marvel character, but also trying to make it kind of as dripped out as I can. And
it was. It was
a challenge. And I think, like I said, one of the big things is just like, being able to prove to yourself what you're capable of, right? Because I think a lot of times we kind of live life like kind of living in a safer zone, and that's okay. But when you want something, you always you're putting yourself under distress all the time by trying to take on new challenges.
Right.
And if it's always easy to say I can do something, but it's hard to show you can do something. And moments where I was like, I've been seeing these Marvel guys for a long time, and I've been saying, I want to be at Marvel. I can do this. I can work. I can do that work. I want the chance to. Just give me the chance. And I got that chance, but it was not easy. And also just, you know, it was a step up from where I've worked on before, like stylistically. Because, you know, as you guys see, some of the Marvel concept art is more, it's not just concept, it's also kind of illustration work. And you know, for other productions, they don't want that. A lot of times. So it was kind of a real step up moment for myself. And also, I'm gonna just keep it real. I was just like, I'm Black, and I know that there's like a different kind of weight there too,
Yeah.
right? Where
Yeah.
you know, Phil and I were the ones working on those Marvel projects who represented essentially not just ourselves but our culture as well. So how it is in the workplace, and you know how it is when it comes to anything. It's like somehow when Black people do things, one Black person fucks up, everybody fucks up somehow.
Yeah,
right.
You didn't know that every Black person they ever met.
Yeah, it's like so it was kind of, you know, that pressure, but it's not like they put that pressure on me. I put that pressure on me. So
Right.
Yeah.
that's why that job was the hardest. It was
Well, number one, so first off, thank you, because yes, we love the way that suit looked. Like,
That's
That suit was fire.
no cap. Like that's my favorite Marvel TV show. I swear to God.
that's Lady Mandalore's moon daddy.
That's
her
your
moon
moon
daddy.
Also no cap. I tried to put on old girl's outfit. I tried to cosplay that. I can't do it. So, but that's because y'all did it so well. I can't do it.
You can do it.
I'll be the first one to tell you I did the Moon Knight cosplay at Dragon Con, and Chris saw it and everyone else saw it. And hearing this, that y'all worked on that project, made me more proud to sport that white suit with my staff and everything. Just I'm proud. I can't say any more than that. That y'all, man, come on. 9-year-old me right now is just happy to see that we're doing the damn thing.
We are.
We are doing the damn thing with talent, with pride, with passion, and most importantly, with an understanding that you're creating a legacy. It's not about the here and now. It's about the history and the future for the young people, our kids, grandkids, nieces, and nephews. We're going to be inspired by this. And you gentlemen, stand up round of applause all day, every day. If I see you in San Diego, lunch is on me. Trust and believe that.
We will be there.
We'll go to the 10 Fish across the street. We'll have lunch there.
10 Fish.
See, they know. If you know, you know.
Let me get pushed. Let me push this harder so I can get out there to San Diego. Good Lord.
You're like, here comes Chris.
The season.
Excuse me.
Season. Jesus Christ. This season for me has been
extra.
Yeah, it has. But it's I asked for it. I'm receiving it. So I'm gonna just roll with it.
Wash over you like the water from Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, I knew it.
There's always room for a Chappelle quote.
I will give you further now.
So I gotta ask this question. You have a third member, Aldous Hodge. How did that come about?
My man, I love that dude.
So,
love
Aldous, I've known Al since he was like 12. And interesting point about him is, so I've known his family for that long. He wanted to be, so we bonded actually over drawing because went to his house one day and he had a sketchbook and he was infatuated with watches in the way that they work. So this is young Al, right? And drawing, but what he was doing is that he would sketch them, but he would make permanent marks right away. So he was drawing too dark. So I would say, no. So I was starting to say, like, you got to use this and use this pencil and that pencil and blah, blah, blah. And you got to, so we kind of bonded over that. So then he likes to take credit, but since he's here, he isn't here. I'll say, I taught Aldous everything he knows. He tries to say he taught me how to draw and all that, but he's not here to defend himself. So, but I think that it was one of those things that because of that, we bonded. And then when we kind of full circle kind of came back to this idea, I've been talking to him and he was like, well, can I be involved in that? Like, I'd like to, like, he really was like a full force in like pushing us to not only do it, but he really wanted to be involved. He is now also, it's the longest standing thing I've ever seen someone do. He is a watchmaker now. He's actually getting watches made. Like he does the whole thing. His family supports that. His mother and his sister actually went and got their gemology licenses. So it's pretty crazy. They're very close as a family and they all support each other. So I think it's one of those things that I've seen that as a level of
hard
focus.
to watch then.
When is Live coming out?
And that's another thing that just thinking about where it's a goal. Like I was like, I remember thinking that I had never seen that. I had never seen a young Black person be like, I'm going to be a watchmaker. Like I had never seen that. And it's still, even to this day right now, as he's doing it, he kind of sticks out because he's probably one of the only ones that's really like wanting to be a Black watchmaker. So there's that. But I bring that up to say that he's been an artist his entire life. He also does fine art. He exhibits at the LA Art Show and stuff like that. So he's very seasoned and cultured. And so when he saw what we were trying to do, he understood it immediately. People don't look at him as an artist. He is. He's an artist in every respect, you know, in terms of like, you know, multi hyphenated artist, painting, you know, all of it, not just an actor as people know him. So I think that it was really interesting. He was in full support of this idea and wanted to make sure that it went through.
Why do we not know about this? Why? I mean, yeah, actor, great, whatever. But like, why don't we know?
that commercial is coming. It's just gonna come out of left field. It's gonna be like, wait a minute, what did we just watch?
The more he's interviewed, I think, and he's done a lot of good ones now. Like, but the more he's interviewed, the more he talks about like just his loves and his passions. And people are always like, because they're like, the actor, why is he involved? And it's like, no, he's actually an artist and a bunch of other things. Like he's, you know, I think it's like he's been an artist his entire life. So I think it's one of those things where he gets us and he understands and he was down to support. And we were happy to have him. It's like, I think adding him in was the thing that really caveated, like it pushed us even more forward to make sure that it could happen.
To have something like that.
Is that why the Hawkman outfit looks so good?
That we can't take credit for it. That's actually it's costume designer's Curtin Bart. But then our friend Darnell Isom, he's the one that sculpted it. Darnell and his twin brother, Arthel, own an animation company or animation studio called D'Art Chitaggio. So they are two Black twin brothers. One of them sculpts and works at Legacy Effects, which is Stan Winston's old company, right? That now does all of the big Marvel films. So actually Darnell sculpted Aldis's costume and ZBrush and like helped get it made. Arthel lives in Japan and runs the animation studio. They are not only the first Black animation studio, they're the first, they're the first American-owned animation studio in Japan.
Yeah, I was trying to get my hands on them too. I know about that studio.
They are wonderful. We can make that connect for you, but they're
please
wonderful.
Please do.
They're all over the place. They
Let's
have
make
all
it
these
happen.
things that they've done. But I love to pump them up just because that's something that's like a caveat to the story that you wouldn't know, at least in terms of like who's behind the scenes there. But that was also kind of Black excellence all in itself. Is knowing that
we'll connect after the show. This is what I think is amazing because first Black-owned concept studio, and you worked on numerous projects, some that's already even unknown. Because even as I got the file footage, I'm like, oh, I watched that. I had no clue, you know, and you know to see like you gave Supergirl pants.
That's right.
Made sense to
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
Right.
Also, thank you.
It made sense to her too in the trailer. She's super excited. Yeah.
I mean, you know, so it just, you know, to see the work and to have the faces to attach to it and know that the faces are our own. This is what this platform is about. And, you know, not too many people know that, oh, behind the scenes, you know, like Laren DeJeanette, who's running over there, he's running over Proud Family, Prouder and Louder and Prouder, you know, and having you guys behind just about every freaking thing. You know, you have someone that's in your camp who's just done the Netflix series. My Dad is a Bounty Hunter. You know, you know, so congratulations, number one, because you're getting your hands in all these different entities in different projects. And as we seen when we spoke about the award shows, people of color and creatives are being seen, the Renaissance is here.
It's here now.
That awakening everybody kept talking about on December 21st, that was this.
Was that when we were supposed to get superpowers?
Yeah, we were supposed to get superpowers. That was the awakening. The Black
Epstein is still taking a nap. That's all I gotta say.
The Black awakening post COVID.
You know, we didn't realize that's what it was. You know, because soon after we had so many projects coming out, and so many shows, and so many movies and comics and novels. And shout out to the crew over at Sister Sci-Fi. They have all this stuff. Queen Jasmine over at Black Fayday, you know, to have these people put us on the front line and to be seen and to talk about and to show us in different aspects, different light, and to sit back. Akilah Cooper, she's another one. You know, it's like Megan is so good. Yes, it was written by a sister. You know, it was just, you know,
she's a friend. I would have to. She would tell me to correct you. Her name is Akilah, but everyone says Akilah because of Akilah and the B, and she will correct.
Yes,
Akilah. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, so Akilah.
Yes.
Too.
She was like, she heard, and if she sees it, she'd be like, "Why didn't you tell them what my name was?"
that come back to haunt you.
Yes, man, it's like to have you on the show.
You were supposed to correct them, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But it's the same thing with Aldous too. Everyone likes to call him Aldous, or they make him sound like a Harry Potter character, and he's like Aldous.
My goodness. Actually, that's new. I've never heard that before.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And I've actually been following him. I was actually introduced to him. The first time I seen him myself was actually on an episode of Supernatural. It was actually the same season I got introduced to Supernatural. So he was on that season. So seeing POC creatives in all these different veins, you know, we got Black Jesus now. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. We got Black Jesus now. So there's that.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we got Black
Long
Jesus.
may he reign.
Long may he reign. We got Black Jesus now. So we have so many outlets now. And we have so many platforms that, such as this one, where that is my mission, to showcase POC creatives who are otherwise not seen or aren't heard about or don't know about, and putting them out there to say, hey, this company over here is doing this, and these people over here are doing this. And, you know, we don't necessarily, we're getting to the point where we don't have to, and like Phil mentioned earlier, race swap. You know, we're coming to that stage where we're just like, now we can tell the story. A Wrinkle in Time is a great story. You know, having those type of stories being put on Front Street so we can see it and say, hey, this is dope. I like this. I want more of this. I need more of this. Like, and that's what it is. We need more of this. It's not, it becomes more of a want, you know, like, when's the next one coming out? When's the next project?
Because that's the thing. That is you hit the nail on the head. It's just fact that, well, first and foremost, post-COVID was the second Black Renaissance. You see creators, you see artists, you see animators, you see, we're not just the norm. I don't mean to say shut up and dribble, but we're more than just sports and entertainment. You're actually seeing more other things out there. So, you know, it's seeing a collective like you guys, seeing animators, seeing Fayday. I forgot her name already. Please forgive me, Queen. I forgot your name.
Queen Jasmine LeFleur.
Please forgive me.
You will be flogged.
I will be flogged. I will shun myself on the shelf of righteousness, and I will be flogged. right next to Sir Brother Numsy. But no, it's that whole thing of like Chris said, it's amazing when you see one thing, and I call it the FUBU method, for us by us. When for us by us is made, it's addictive. It's something that we've been like Phil, you've already said earlier today. We see things that are non-POC that we have to imagine ourselves in because there wasn't an avenue or a market for us. Now there is. It's addictive. It's creative. We want more of it. We crave for the next thing to come out. So that's only it. And as Chris and many others have said, it's only going to make the non-seasoned people a little bit angry, just because that's going to be the way going forward. We're going to see a lot more Tinkerbells, a lot more Ariels. I personally can't wait to see a different retelling of a few Disney stories, and even new ones actually, and even African folklore that isn't actually being talked about that also can be put out there. But yeah, it's a whole the world is yours. That's about the best way I could put that. Not Scarface, because that ended horribly, but
Nas.
Let's go to Nas' version of the world is yours. Let's go that route.
This is something I do have to say about all of that too, is often because we age out of things, right, to a certain degree. What I've started to see too is a lot of the content that's being made, unfortunately, and I'm talking to everyone here, is not for us. It's not being made for us. So we've aged out of the thing where it's like you have all these strong emotions about these things, but they're not making that movie for you now. They're making it for kids now that are growing up in a world that is truly starting to be a lot more diverse. So for them, they're not like, how dare you change Peter Pan or He-Man or whoever it is. It's just like, they're just like, okay, it is what it is to them. Meaning like, that's why kids learn so quickly, right? Kids pick up languages, not because they're like ultra smart. They are, but they pick them up because they don't have anything else to compare. If you want to, eat, you have to say a certain word. Or if you want to, have your shoes, you say this word. Like whatever language it is, they learn it in the most simplest form, which is I need to say this thing or this sound gets me this thing, right? Whereas us, we translate everything from English. So it's like if your Mike's telling me this in African means this or whatever, my mind is saying, okay, in English, I have to translate, and I have so much, it blocks me from being able to learn it. So I think it's one of those things that it's the same thing here. It's the same thing for visuals, and it's the same thing ultimately as we kind of move forward. You have to kind of have that mindset where you're just saying, this isn't for me. And it probably is for someone that needs it. Meaning if they start to do something and they're just like, it's like Native American superhero that's disabled and has, whatever, like, or is of this sexual orientation. If you feel like that's forced diversity, it's probably not being made for you. But someone else very much so needs to see that representation, and they feel empowered, and and it's like, that's the thing. There's so much content. Why are you picking on this one thing that may or may not be for you? Because you have so many other examples. It's not forced. It's just for someone that maybe you don't identify with. Right.
No, fair point.
So I think it's kind of one of those things where I think that's kind of where we are. It's a good point. Now, granted, I do still want to see stuff the way I want to see it, but I've realized, like you go and do Thundercats, you're going to make them all purple. I'm going to be mad, right? Like, it's kind of one of those things. Like, but at the same time, it's like those kids will grow up and be like, this is Thundercats. You'd be like, no. And then you sound old, right? We're like, no, you young person, like you're ruining everything. That's kind of the way it is.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. But you're right though, because as things get more diverse, so will the storytelling. It's just the fact that some people are just gonna have to accept it. I mean, for example, Peter Pan and Wendy. I'm looking forward to the fact that I finally get an Assassin's Creed movie that actually I'm going to look forward to with a different name.
Yes.
I mean, to me, that's Assassin's Creed. I don't care what you say. Hopping off a horse, off a cliff, straight down the ship, sword drawn. I'm sorry. That's Assassin's Creed to me. So immediately it's got my attention.
Right.
That sounds like a Bollywood movie. What are you talking about?
I mean,
those are great, by the way.
I said without the dancing.
You guys are bringing up a good point too, which is
that's the only thing that's missing from it. The musical number.
A musical breakdown. I'm sure Disney. You gotta have at least one musical.
We broke Mike.
Lord in heaven.
We are going to go and we're going to get on the ship after we sing.
They bring up a good concept when you can slap a tiger and just keep it pushing. I'm not gonna pushing. Slap the tiger and kept the slide going at the same time.
It kept it going. I want to say you bring up a good point too, which is the content that they choose to make, right? Like I remember when they remade Clash of the Titans, I'm like, great, but you could have just done God of War. Like why? We already have Clash of the Titans, so like you could have taken that whole budget and given us a God of War movie, and it would have been awesome. That's kind of like where we are.
But they gotta admit, the God of War is a black man, though.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It wouldn't have been good because they wouldn't let that go. They'd get marked.
Who would it have been?
Christopher Judge.
Christopher Judge. I would give him that one.
He's got the size. He's got the
Chris
voice.
Pratt.
He's doing the
Also-
voice.
Honorable
Chris
mention
Pratt.
Mark Spinks, who's a power lifter. That dude could play Kratos. Because if you ever see who Mark Spinks is, that dude could play Kratos. Bald headed, 6'5", and all muscle.
Y'all missed it. Will snuck in a Chris Pratt. Nobody heard it.
Yeah, I caught it.
Nah, Chris,
Yeah.
we
For
got a
Will
perfect
is Chris
position.
Pratt everything since he seems to be in everything.
No, Chris
what
Pratt
is-
has a wonderful role.
What's next for 9B Collective? What's next for 9B Collective? What's the next stage?
I would say original IP. So we're starting to see if we can put out our own stories.
I love this.
We need a screenwriter.
Do you guys see a break in the reboots anytime soon? Like I need original ideas. I'm so sick of all of these reboots and regurgitations of not. I need something new. Do y'all see anything on the horizon? Like even if I know that y'all got, I know y'all got something, but do you see?
It's about to explode
more
right now,
people?
y'all.
I'm just saying, y'all ain't got to just wink one time. I know y'all got
Here comes the NDAs.
Good.
Don't
but do you see
tell
more
nobody.
people outside of your cipher like attempting and being brave enough to make new ideas?
Yes. And it's happening. What's cool about what was yes. What was cool about the whole
I need sweet release.
No.
I got it.
What was cool about the whole kind of explosion during like kind of the pandemic and then after George Floyd and all that, when everyone was kind of like actually listening finally to people of color, was there was a whole kind of thing to diversify and kind of get things going and moving in a good direction. And what happened is there were a lot of projects of marginalized voices that were greenlit, and we'll start to see they're all being worked on since that point. So we're going to start seeing a wave of content that will come out where you will get something very specific. Like I tell this story and people think I'm making it up, but I wish I could remember. But I know that there's like South Korean pop stars fighting, monsters. It's that specific. Like, you know what I mean? Or it'd be like Filipino episodic about blah, blah, blah. Or, African stuff, lots of African anthologies. So we will get stuff. The bittersweet moment for me is just hoping it continues and that it wasn't just that wave, and we'll get this like onslaught of being used to new content and then going back to reboots of whatever. So
I'm petty.
I mean, we will see. We will see. I often say I wish we could go.
Chris, way to go.
Villain.
I wish we could. Yes, well, I wish we could get to the ideals of the 80s. The 80s, they just tried shit, right?
Yeah.
Like there was like a movie about like carrying around your dead boss. There was a movie where a mannequin came to life. There was a movie where like these teenage boys made their perfect woman. There's a movie about a guy that goes from being big or being small to being big. Like they just made things. And then at some point they were just like, no more original ideas. Let's just do Superman forever. Let's go back and remake Gilligan's Island or whatever. And you're just like, and then they're like, the newest thing is like, let's go back and remake Gilligan's Island, but mix it with zombies. You know what I mean? It's like, can we just not? Can we just?
I would actually watch that though.
I know. I'm not gonna lie. I would watch it.
Completely watch that.
I can't see Gilligan negotiating with a zombie though. It just
It's funny that you mentioned the mannequin movie because that was a conversation that came up earlier this week, and they were saying, "Yeah, I rewatched Mannequin, and oh my god!" And it was just like, "Yeah, the '80s was a totally different beast, and it was
wild."
A lot of marching.
But wouldn't that be great?
Oh, you would watch that too. Geek by Heart talking about I would watch that too. You would watch that.
Shout out to Geek by Heart. I like the idea that for the next stage for 9B Collectives is your own IP. I love the product that you put out so far. You've shocked us all because once again, happy accident. We didn't know that you were involved with Peter and Wendy. Happy accident once
Honestly,
again.
Honestly, I'd forgotten. I was like, oh, I get to see this. I actually watched it in real time with you guys for the first time, and I was like, I worked on that. That's awesome.
Look at this.
You know?
Blur's Eye View is breaking all types of barriers here. Look at that. Knowing that you worked on Moon Knight, and there's only two people I've seen pull off the suits, and it's been you and Hellspawn. It's been Montel and Hellspawn.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
yeah.
None said I had to ask when he did it. I'm like, I had to text him. I'm like, you want to tell me how you kept a clean, crisp white suit clean for 8 whole hours plus?
Impressive.
No dust, no hair, no mustard stains, none of that.
It's called Navy training and a crazy great grandmother. That's how that works. Boy, don't you mess up my tablecloth. So Lord, I will send you to him.
I just hear that line from Blazing Saddles, like, get off the brother. Don't you see you're messing up his fines? That's all. So before we get out of here, I want to give you guys the platform to say where you're at. Don't worry, Will. We know where Will.
Will, like, wait, I'm not one of the people. What the hell?
So Mike, you're up first.
Wait, what are we saying?
Oh, we're doing our sign-offs where they can find you at and everything.
Oh yeah, you can find me at Blackberry Wandy on Instagram. I think it's Blackberry Wandy as well on Facebook. Though I never use that platform. And I don't even know if
it's kind of dying, isn't it?
Instagram is probably the one that y'all should hit me up on. And then Michael Uwandi on LinkedIn.
All right. This is such a dope conversation. Here we go, Phil.
Go to, I guess, 9pcollective.com. And then you can hit me up on Instagram at Phil, PHIL_Boutte, BOUTTE. I believe that's what I think on Twitter I'm at pboutte, so PBOUTTE. I believe it might be the same. I don't remember. And then we also have 9B Collective on IG at 9B Collective. Yes, that's the best ways to get in contact. I'm on Facebook as well, but I also hardly use it anymore. So
that seems to be the going theme now. It's just not popping like
once that election stuff happened, it was
yeah. That's where the real migration went away from. Was from Facebook.
I had to keep my.
Well, I'm officially following y'all on Instagram.
We need to have that lunch at Tin Fish. That'll happen.
Oh, fact. It's all on me. I'm saving all the coupons.
So this is how it's gonna work, because and Montel can back me up on this. It seems like if I mentioned in any form, I pop up. Don't ask me how. It's not a Batman thing, but it's a Batman thing. I don't get it. It's a gift.
You know
my name gets mentioned in places, and then all of a sudden, oh, here he is. Yep, here I am.
Come on,
Montel, Phil, we're gonna connect. I'm gonna connect with you after the show so we can get some stuff going, because I'd love to get that right. Where can they find you at, my brother Montel?
See, I didn't get a chance to do my intro because you was quick about it, so I got to do it real quick.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, blurs of all ages, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Once again, it's your frosty bearded blurticorn here with the Blur's Eye View crew, because this is where it's at, y'all. Let's go down. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Instagram under Navy Montel, but you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. YouTube, TikTok, and on Twitch under Road Catnip. Sorry, I haven't had enough caffeine here. You can find me on those three under Road Catnip. I am trying to get the Blurticorn Convos back up. And gentlemen, I would love to reach out to you, have y'all on my show on Instagram so we can get more creatives inspired by what you're doing, because what you're doing is a phenomenal thing. And I said before, I applaud you. The 9-year-old in me who got beat up reading Black Panther is glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad you're here too. That's
the connections. I love
absolutely. And I'm a budding voice actor, just like Chris.
Oh yeah. People keep thinking I'm playing when I'm saying I'm like, no, literally, I'm the villain. Like in somebody's story, I'm the. I have the voice for it.
You got the
He
cat.
is. He scared the crap out of me at BlurCon. He's like, Montel, shit. Oh, hey. The hell? I'm only this big, man.
I had to learn to talk to people from an arm's distance, so they were, oh, because our people don't get like scared and run off. We get into a fighting stance. So like,
embrace me. Oh shit. Oh,
you can always pull a James Earl Jones with everybody, Chris.
Yeah, I do.
Team Joffrey.
I can't help it. I can't control it. It's there. It's just what it is.
My son works.
I've gone through the trouble of finding you a very fine wife. Oh my God, Lady Mandalore.
It was right on.
Sure, I'll
right on in.
I am a human being that can't stop laughing. Okay. I am known as Lady Mandalore when I am always here at Blurred's Eye View. I also go by the name of Kira Brown. If you ever want to find me on the interwebs, good luck. I am building a community called Roomful of Blurreds. You can find me on Instagram as Roomful of Blurreds. You can find me on this app called Fanbase as Roomful of Blurreds, where I hold a chat room every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a good time. We talk about pop culture, nerd stuff, other stuff.
Oh my!
What's
very
stuff?
much. Last week was very, very spicy.
Jesus can
we
see
have
you.
but we have a good time. It's the bathroom.
Daddy.
Quiet.
Was there safe words involved? Oh.
I'm saying
talk
that
about
can't be
everything
here
in
for
my
this
chat room.
conversation.
Nothing is off limits until somebody gets offended. Rarely does anybody get offended.
If you're amongst us, then if you haven't played the dozens in your life, then what are you doing with your life? I don't know.
Man.
Yeah, it's we go. We're a happy set of cousins. That's it. I also have a podcast called Child of Mandalore. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, Your Mother's Backyard, everything. We talk about the history of Mandalore and its people in great detail. I even do some voices every once in a while. And you can find me on TikTok under Child of Mandalore as well. That's a lot, but I'm busy.
And season 3 of Mandalore is starting tomorrow. So
yeah,
we got our hands full. All right, Cinematic Assassin.
It is I will be watching. I tell you what you should be watching. So, movies, TV reviews, silly skits, and talking shit. If that sounds good to you, you can find me at Mayhem Media. That's MAYEHEM Media. And as I always like to sign out, mental health is important. So go ahead and take that PTO. And if no one's told you today, I know you're doing your best. Your best is good enough. So lean into that and spread a little love along the way.
Right on.
Yes.
Black Spartan, you want to tell them what PTO really means?
Prepare the others.
There we
Prepare
go.
the others. Well, we ain't gonna make it. Prepare the others. Yes. Oh wow, I'm doing so much laughing, messing my own voice up. I am Black Spartan, also known as Black Box 447 on all socials. You can definitely follow me on mostly everything. I do write reviews on everything that I watch, that I play, that I read, that I watch. It's almost like I don't have sleep anymore, but hey, what's sleep? I do have a couple of podcasts of my own. I have a weekly political podcast called How the Fracker Got Here that is on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch every Wednesday and Saturday. I also have a video game podcast with my co-host Joe Tonello called Get Bit Podcast that comes on every Friday, also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, I am one of the writers for Blurred's Eye View website for wrestling. Why? Because wrestling is real and people are fake. Shout out to Mr. Kennedy for that one. I can't take credit for it, but it's so effing true. Aside from that, guys, I am a very social person, so I just have one rule when you're talking to me. Be nice. I am a petty person. If you're petty to me, I'll be petty to you. But if you're nice to me, I will be exceptionally nice to you. Also, guys, I'd say this at the beginning of this year because 2023 needs to be different. There is no competition. We are all in different lanes. We are all on different goals. We are all on different schedules. If one person gets their goal before you, please, oh please, don't be salty. Please don't be salty. Congratulate the person that actually makes it before you, because you know why?
Please.
Your time is coming as well. At the same time, I am rooting for you. I am cheering for you. I will share. I will post. I will put things to help you out, because why? We need to be a group of helping folks forward, not holding them back, taking the hinges off doors and not having doors alone, but open avenues for everybody to travel through. That's what we need to be doing, aside from the fact of supporting each other, unifying each other. And hey, it is completely okay to be a blurred or a nerd. So that being said, don't be a dick and we all be cool.
Please.
Don't be a Nazi.
All right, everybody.
Bar is set very low.
This was bar.
The bar is set super low.
Bernard and Shakira Gatling, they both said you should do a Malkia movie. That should be done. That is a definite story. Our very own Black Spartan has checked it out. He's ready. He's loved it. So he's praised it. This is one of these things where you see a Black female in a very good place in being a very prominent person. So check that out. You want to go check them out. First off, I want to thank our guests of 9B Collective, Phil Boutte and Michael Uwande. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for tuning in for this. Let me give you this real quick before I do my sign off, because it's so necessary. So necessary. I'm serious about mine. I'm so sincere. Lord have mercy. But if this is your first time watching and tuning in, thank you. You can also follow Blurred's Eye View on IG. Just go to Blurred's Eye View right there, and it will put you in the link tree that's in the bio, which leads you to all the fantastic places where you can find us. You can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts, including Opulence Radio, completely free. Download the app. You can listen to past episodes, including this one, all day long. You can check us out on Apple, Google, Spotify. You name it, we're probably there. We should be there. Talk to your local sponsors. You can also catch us on Facebook, Blurred's Eye View Podcast, all caps. Old page, shutting that down in a little bit anyway, but that's whatever. You can also catch us on Twitch, Blurred's Eye View 1, so go check us out over there. But until then, I am your dutiful host with this beautiful cast of people. Thank you guys from 9B Collective for coming in. This was such a dope conversation. I couldn't be more enthused and happy to have you get this. This is the episode. This episode is bars. This episode
all
is
the
bars.
sexy people over here. All the sexy people.
This episode is definitely bars. I will be connecting with you guys after the show because look, Kira's doing everything. I lost.
Why is Kira posing?
Is it Rage Daddy, Moon Daddy, Aqua Poppy, Water Daddy, Time Daddy?
We have discussed this. Kira is an avatar. We've already discussed this.
All the powers in my hand.
Thanos ain't got shit on Kira.
What in
That's what we're
Barnes and
saying.
Noble are you doing, young lady? What in the Barnes and Noble are you doing?
Tune in next not this. Tune in Thursday. We're back Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch handle Blurred's Eye View 1. You can catch us every Thursday at 9 p.m. and every Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Same channels. If you miss us, listen to this episode first thing tomorrow morning after 8 o'clock and piss your boss off while you sit back, get some knowledge and laugh at the same time. And if they wondering why, PTO. Don't say PTO, just say prepare the others. Let them figure out the rest. Let them figure out the rest. That's what I'm saying.
Gosh.
Prepare the others.
How's your morning? PTO. Oh.
She getting ready for Saturday. Yeah, Saturday's conversation gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. I gotta dive in on that one. Until then, I want to thank my guests, 9B Collective. Once again, this has been a great episode. We are looking forward to all the works I'm looking forward to seeing if there's going to be a concept art book dropped from you guys, like just of all the work you've done.
I'd like a signed copy.
Yeah.
She got right in there.
And-
She's like,
She did.
Yeah.
Leave that one right on in.
And if Montel says this 10 fish is all of that, then just say my name. I'll eventually
facts.
pop up.
Facts.
I'll pop
Facts.
up some kind of way.
The
Don't
four of
ask
us
me
at
how.
The 10 fish will be fire watching all the people go into the convention center and just like, you shouldn't be going in there. What the hell are you doing?
Oh, that sounds like my type of party then. But until then, tune in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all those who out there are watching and listening. Until then, remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. This is Chris Fury with this entire dope crew. Boom. And we are out of here.